Hello heroes, this is Cody from ComicsDown, and I have a book to review today, so let's get into it. The book we're going to review today is IDW's Bubba Hotep, The Cosmic Bloodsuckers #1. The book is priced at $3.99, which is a little high, but is on that nice IDW paper. Let's take a look at this cover. You got Elvis sitting on his throne, and you can tell he's got some pictures in it. I don't know what he's doing, but he's got some pictures in his hand. Looks like he's drunk, got pills all over the thing. And everybody has that thing in their mind that Elvis was a drunk and a pillhead and died on the toilet and everything, and it kind of makes you think of that. You can feel the apathy just rolling off this book right now. Other than that, the color scheme is very, very pretty. The browns, the yellows, the oranges is very, they framed him very well with the border here. And then, it makes you, it's not too bled in, yeah, they have a lot of the same colors, but it's very well put together. You can tell what the book is. You got Bubba Hotep, Cosmic Bloodsuckers. And then you got your main character framed. And then, it kind of gives you an idea that, yeah, hey, maybe he's got some problems. It opens up with an old drunkard. A breeze brings the stench of the Mississippi to the junkyard. And you got an old drunk breaking into the junkyard. Glug, 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 glug. And he's looking for something to steal, and he's talking to himself, and he's like, well, I guess I'll just steal an old beater tonight. He'll just have to deal with it. And he goes from there to a hotel in Las Vegas where you see this guy, Johnny Smack, railing a chick from behind and looking at a window of a hotel room. And you see this box over in the corner here, and you're like, what the hell is this thing here? And there's Elvis, and he's floating. He's in one of those hyperbaric chambers or whatnot. And his bodyguard, Johnny Smacks, banging this chick, and she's like, Like I said, this is a very mature comic. He finishes up real quick because he hears old Elvis saying, hey, get me out of here. I'm calling for him or whatnot. So he's trying to finish up getting this girl down. She's like, I still got you running down my leg. And he's like, yeah, get on down. Well, who's in that box? He's like, well, that's Elvis Presley. Well, why is he in there? Well, he's trying to find Nirvana. It goes from there, and whoosh, Johnny opens it up, and Elvis steps out, and he's like, hey, dude, what's going on? I can hear you getting your nut off. Where's the chick? I'm supposed to get sloppy seconds. Don't leave me in there, man. If I tell you get me out, get me out. He goes from there to a flashback earlier that day or week or whatnot, and it's the Colonel. And the Colonel, well, he's the guy, he's Elvis's manager basically, and he's not a nice guy very much, and Elvis don't like him much either. And he goes to the White House, and apparently they got he goes down this elevator, and they got a secret underground bunker under the White House, which they do. He sees this, and then it's like a scene out of Raiders in the Lost Ark or some crazy sci-fi picture. He's walking down this big long corridor. He sees this robot here. He sees that apparently they use this robot, when needed. They got Mask of Hitler, goddamn, who's that Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean, some, Nixon, which is kind of crazy because I guess maybe Nixon might be a robot. But, he's like, well, what do they do with all this stuff? Some kind of crazy sex rituals or kinky sex toys, instruments of torture, or maybe for all of that. Then you see old Nixon. He's got a nosebleed for some reason, and a jar full of teeth sitting on his desk, which is really dark. But, he's talking to old Colonel, and Apparently they had found something. And this is the Colonel back in Vegas explaining to Elvis what had been found. And Elvis walks into the room, and old Colonel's drinking out of a milk carton. He's like, "Oh, what I told you about drinking out of the milk carton?" He's like, "I know. I do it because you don't like it." And he's like, "Oh, you sorry motherfucker." And he's like, "I got a film you guys need to watch, so just sit down." And they show one of Elvis's old sea movies where he's just singing and dancing and hopping around or whatnot. You know, one of them old surfer movies and shit. And they put 3D glasses on, and it reveals what to be true. And all the girls that were dancing around him were truly vampires. And they're like, "Well, what do they want us to do?" Well, apparently the government wants them to hunt down the vampires and kill them. Later on, they're in New Orleans, down by the banks of the Mississippi. Elvis and Johnny are sitting there in their pink caddy talking, and you know, Elvis is like, "I don't want to leave my car here. You know, we shouldn't leave it here." You know, he's really worried about his old pink caddy. And Johnny's explaining to him, "Well, we're going to take the car with us. You know, this boat is actually giant. You know, we can drive onto it, and it's basically the Titanic of the Mississippi." And the old Colonel, he's got zombies working for him as slave labor, which is really kind of jacked up. You know, and the Colonel goes into, you know, explaining where the zombies come from and how he gets them. You know, you got to steal their soul right before they die, you know, and that's, you know, and then they're yours, and we get them from out of town, so, you know, they're not recognized. And Elvis is eating a sandwich, and he's like, "Man, this is some kind of jacked up shit." And then the Colonel says that, well, that's the thing that he had done that to Elvis's mom also. And this is what keeps Elvis in line. Why it keeps him working for the Colonel is because Elvis loves his mother more than anything. And he's trying to get her soul back from the Colonel so he can end his music career altogether, you know. And it goes from there to introducing the team. And you got Jenny Jo Dallas is the hot female lead. You got Jack, who leads up logistics, and then you got John Henry, the strong black figure, and then you got the blind man. He sees things in his mind's eye. You know, the mysterious one. And you got the fat Colonel sitting here smoking a cigar. Elvis sees old Jenny Jo, and he's like, "Hey, I saw you on TV, you know," and had a little flashback, and she goes into saying, yeah, I wasn't even supposed to sing that night. Surprisingly, you know, I was actually pretty low on the list of replacements to sing. And surprisingly, everyone on the list in the main act got sick with dysentery. So they had to pick me. And old Colonel's laughing, and Johnny's like, "Well, still up to your old tricks, huh? You still know how to make a star." And Colonel's like, "I sure do, gentlemen." And and then they start going over the plan and what needs to be done. And one of his zombies walks up and he's like, "Elvira, my cabin box on the dresser." And he goes and tells the zombie to go get some pictures, and it shows what they're up against, or the aftermath of what they're up against. It shows the pictures of these people being drained, sucked dry, and rolled into little balls and thrown away. And not far on the Bourbon Street, you see a mugger try to mug this young lady, which he probably shouldn't have, because she ended up being some kind of succubus or space vampire or something. And then it goes into this really cute scene where Elvis is, guy's too cool for school. He's just too cool. And she's like, we can't be together, yada yada. He's like, "How'd you get roped into this?" She's like, the Colonel started my career, and we have special abilities, so we need to do this too. He's like, "Man, I wouldn't do this. I don't want to do this ever anymore, And then he's like, "Man, a beautiful woman like that, she don't want to be with me, forget it." Or that's one that's one. And I'm amazingly flexible. She's telling him about her powers, and he's like, oh, interesting. Forget it. Not gonna happen. Must be a lesbian, he's thinking to himself, and she's like, I'm not a lesbian if that's what you're thinking. You want to be doing this? Fighting monsters? And he's like, not anymore. And he tells her about, how he has a fancy of getting a replacement for the impersonator to live his life and everything. And then he goes and shows the creature that they're going after, and it seems to be this like gelatinous blob thing with little spikes and weird nipples and shit in the junkyard. And it's in that same junkyard that old drunk found himself trying to break into. So I can imagine that old drunk, he's probably not there anymore either. And it's got, they got all these good looking people to go and bring in the prey. And that's a cover for the next one. But this is a recommend. This Bubba Hotep, a Cosmic Bloodsucker, is a dark, funny horror comedy. And I like it a lot. I'm a fan of Big Trouble in Little China and that book that's out right now, and that series that's going on right now. And I think this is going to be added to my pull list as well. At least for, a couple more books. I want to see what's going on with it. Maybe the first story arc or whatnot. But other than that, it's highly recommended. So I'm going to get out of here. I got to go to work. Sub, like, comment, hit the bell. My name's Cody. This is ComicsDown. I hope you have a great day.